Aloha and welcome to this practice WOD Dynamic 1 Digits Mockup. Okay, so what is this all about? We're going to create a mockup application called Digits. And before doing that, we should have reviewed all the material in the resources section. I hope you've done that, watched the screencast, and not most importantly, but importantly, we're going to use GitHub branching to support this WOD. You're going to find this really is great because it enables you to actually save all your old attempts and easily reset the state of your local workspace back to the kind of the template level. So you're not doing some of the stupid boring work that I'm sure you're all getting sick and tired of. One of the things I want to make sure that you all do is use the correct version of Play Bootstrap template, okay, for these WODs. The one that I released at the beginning of the semester had a bug in it. The view files had lowercase. They were lowercase. They weren't capitalized. I want you to fix that, but download the new version. If I start seeing you guys do WODs in the future with the lowercase version, I'm gonna DNF you or count you off, take off points or something for that. So just get yourself the newer version of Play Bootstrap template. And then go ahead and rename the template to Digits and make the Eclipse project Digits and so forth, and commit those results to the master branch, okay, or to the default, which is the default branch you get automatically, okay. And I've made a little screencast right here for you to show you how you go about doing that. And in future, I'm just going to, from now on, the WODs are going to assume you've kind of set up this base state to work on, and we're not going to count that time in the time for the WOD because it's kind of overhead, boring stuff. Okay, so I'll assume you're all ready. Let's start the timer. Okay, and we're going to create a mockup called Digits, and we're going to do it in a branch off of master named attempt n. So what I got to do right now is go plus, and I'm going to say attempt 2 because that's the attempt that I'm on. And if I click over here, we can see if I do a refresh, okay, it refreshes now to the attempt 2, which is good. And we want to make sure that we've enabled check style, which is down here. Okay, and that there's no problems. There are no problems. And let's make sure that our application runs in the browser. So we'll do for fun, we're going to do this semicolon clean, semicolon compile, semicolon run, all in one line in the Play console. It's kind of a nice way just to get everything all like cleaned up and everything. So if we now refresh localhost 9000, we see we're at our home page. And in fact, just to convince ourselves that everything's all good, I'll put a 2 in the title, save that, refresh. Now I see the 2 up there in the title, so I know that in fact when I make editing changes right here, everything's going to be good. In fact, while I'm here, I might as well change the title to Digits. Okay, and now we see Digits up here, and let's put Digits down here. Just some super quick stuff just to make it more clear that what we're doing. Okay, anyway, let's go back to our thing. Add any thematic changes you want. Okay, and I don't know about you, but I'm getting fairly sick of this default template. I want to do something a little more fun. And so what I want to do is use my Bootstrap stuff to go look at the boot swatch. I want to use a boot swatch theme for this. And so the way I'm going to do that is quickly find that URL to download, to use boot swatch instead of bootstrap. So now I just take this and I paste this in. I'm not going to use Amelia. I want to use Spacelab. And if you want to look around at this, you can just go to boot swatch. An Amelia, Cerulean, Cosmos Cyborg, Flatly Journal, Readable Simplex, Slate, Spacelab look kind of cool to me. So I'm going to use Spacelab. Where is it? Right there. As my theme. And so now if I refresh, I should see that. That looks kind of, more, it looks different, right? And the other thing is that I wanted to have a header. So as we recall in the Surferpedia project, we made a header by getting rid of sticking the nav bar to the top, and then we said div class equals header. Oops. And then what we needed to do is get rid of that, because we're not sticking it to the top, so we have to get rid of that. But then we have to make this class header. And frankly, I can't quite remember exactly what went in there. So I'm going to go look in my old one. Oh yeah, and remember that there's a dot there. I always forget that. Okay, here we go. We got the class header, and we need this image. And so the way I'm going to do that is go to project hosting digits. In the public images directory, I have this header file that I found. So I'm going to say copy, put it in there. Then if I this I have to save. If I now refresh this, I see that, and that it looks a little big to me. So what I'm going to do is just change it to 200. And that looks a little better. Okay, so now I've got a different theme. I've got a little header image, and then I was thinking about it. I thought because everything's responsive, right? And I thought to myself, boy, who really wants to see that header when they're on their mobile phone? And so I thought about that for a second, or in thinking about that for a second, what I realized is it's super easy to get rid of it. What you say is excess hidden. Remember, we've got that, we did that in a prior WOD where we wanted that middle section to disappear for a Castle High School or something when you're on a mobile. So there's these excess hidden, this responsive utility. I kind of forget where it is. I think it's down here. Yeah. Hidden hidden excess. Right? Good thing I looked it up, yeah? So if you put this in, it means it's going to get rid of that whole section when we are at the mobile size. Whoops, that's not what I want. Let's go to localhost. Okay, so if we go here, refresh, and then go to mobile, look at that. We get rid of that header image entirely, which I think is kind of sweet. Okay. So anyway, let's see. So let's go back to our. So we've got the thematic changes. We've added a header image. We've changed to the Spacelab theme, so we get some different colors and the Open Sans font. We've made the header image actually go away on mobile. That seems kind of awesome. So now we're at the edit the homepage to provide a table of sample contents. Okay, so let's look up in Bootstrap what a table looks like. So we go to this section right here, and we see that it's actually just a regular old table. But you can make it bordered by the table border. You have to add the class equals table, and then you can add some other things like table striped, table bordered. So that's how you do it. So let's go to index, and then in here, so what we're going to do is we're going to say, so hopefully you guys have all written tables in HTML. Table striped, table bordered, something like that. And then we've got a TH, and we've got a first name. Oh, we got a row, right? TR. So first, TH last, and then TH phone, and then we end our row, and then we say TR, TD, Joe TD Smith, and the phone is, we could do something like 808.123.4567, which would be kind of cool, but we can get even cooler because in HTML, and then let's finish that off. We can get even cooler because in HTML5 there's an actual href type called telephone, which would look like this. It's a href equals tel colon +1 for US, and then 808.123.4567. So no, no digits in there. And and then what happens is under mobile, most mobile browsers recognize that, and then you can just basically tap that number when you're displaying this web page in the browser. It will make the call. So that's pretty sweet, if you ask me. So let's put a few of these in here. Let's change Joe Smith, Amanda Smith, Jane Smith, and let's just pretend they all had similar numbers, just a little bit different. So we're going to make that a 8, make this a 9. Okay, and shoots. I think that looks pretty good. Let's see what happens when we go here and refresh. Okay, yeah, so we have this nice little table now with these things that are now linked. They don't work for me on a laptop, on my desktop device, but they'll, if you have an HTML5 compliant browser on your mobile device, this will actually make the call. Okay, so that, I think, is pretty much the home page. Now we have to create a page called New Contact, which contains a form allowing the user to enter new contact. A contact has 3 fields, first name, last name, and a telephone number. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is we have to make this new contact page. Well, we've got a page1.scala, but let's use that and just refactor it into what we want it to really be, which is called New Contact. Okay, and then once we do that, we're all going to be screwed up in our application because we're not going to be importing the right field, New Contact, and then this will be wrong, New Contact, and then this has to be New Contact. Kind of a little bit of editing, cutting and pasting, but at the end of the day, not really, just a couple seconds work. And it's good to kind of have a sense for how things work. And then in our main, what we want is New Contact, and then we're going to go not to page 1, but to page New Contact, and new Contact. Okay, just make sure that was, yeah, okay. All right, so having done that, let's go here, see if we can actually compile. And it looks like we did, and now we have this New Contact page, and when we click on it, it gets highlighted like we want, or the highlighting goes away. It's kind of subtle, the highlighting, but it's actually, I can see it. Okay, so now we've got that New Contact page. What the heck are we supposed to do with it? We're supposed to have a form allowing the user to enter a new contact. Okay, so that means we've got to go look up how forms work. So let's see how forms work. Okay, so we look at the basic example, and boy, that looks kind of close to what we need. And let's do a horizontal. So that we can fiddle around with our columns. What you see, actually, it's not obvious here, but if you get this thing sufficiently wide, you get these things on beside each other, and then as you get it smaller, it's kind of irritating. It reformats. So let's use this as our template because it's actually pretty darn close to what we want. So I'm just going to say copy, and then in new contact, you could have used one of the other forms, but I'm going to pick that one. And then what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to say source format to make my indentation work. The only thing I have to then do is it's a little stupid. It doesn't it moves that at the Scala template thing up there. We don't want it up there on that first line. So the next thing I'm going to do actually is I'm going to change edit find replace dash lg dash with dash sm dash, because I want all those large column ones, I want to make them small, so that because this is not a big form, there's no reason to require it to be so big before it does anything. So let's say find, and then that one's bad, that one's bad, that one should be fixed, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. Okay. So we got all those changes made, and then the next thing we need is we need to say that the first field is actually called first, for first name, and the type is text, and the ID, we should maybe make that first, and the placeholder should be first name. And then our second thing, and this for is, I'm just going to delete it entirely, it's kind of a meta meta information. So this would be last, and the type of this again is text, last, and the placeholder will be last name. And this checkbox thingy, we don't really want one of those. What we actually want is another one of these fields. And this one is going to be phone. And the type here is going to be telephone, which is an HTML5. And we won't actually see the full power of that till we actually make this into a real form. And then instead of calling this sign in, let's call this add. Okay, so that's our form. And we may want to actually say something like, I don't know, H1 add form, add contact. Could do that. So then let's go here, let's try to refresh, see if everything works, and there we go, add contact, first name, last name, phone, and then as we get smaller, what we can see is our image went away, but also we've gone from having the first label on the same line as the field to having them go like that. So you've kind of got some screen real estate when you're on a mobile phone. Okay, so that's not bad. I'm realizing that we had something in the front page. We also had something like, I don't know, H1 contacts. I can't quite remember, but there was something. I can just find out. Current contacts, and then I didn't have anything on this page, so yeah, just to make it look the same. Current contacts here, and on this page I'll get rid of that H1, and then I'll refresh here. It's all good. We'll refresh here because I'm seeing things that I don't like to see. So there's current contact here, and then add a new contact there, and yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, I think so now we've got the new contact. So edit the README to file to provide a screenshot of my completed application. Okay, so let's make a screenshot, hide the browser, maybe use the home page. something like that. And to do that, we can do that. And we can say digits. And then put that back up there where I had it before. Okay, so we've got to edit the README file now. Okay, and we don't like this stuff. In fact, what we could do is Surferpedia had the right format, so maybe I'll just take the README file from them and put it in here. And then what I've got to do, and this is also good because if you do the same thing, you're going to get the right account name. So this is digits, and this is actually attempt2 doc, and I've got this digits.png. So if I go over to my digits, here's the doc folder. I can take digits, put it in there, and get rid of these things from the template. And then I can say that provides a contact application. Okay, that's good. Find an interest with a form to add a new contact. Johnson digits, temp2, doc digits. Okay, so having done that, we can now go to changes. And we look through here to make sure that there's nothing bad that's being committed that doesn't like. So completed attempt 2. I want to just refresh one more time, make sure nothing bad has happened. So we've got a context, new context. That all looks good. So I'll commit and sync my attempt 2. And then I can go to settings, view on GitHub, and then go to attempt 2. And there we have it. Looks super good. Anything else that we need to do? README it displays. Okay, so it took us, let's give ourselves 20 minutes as RX. I did a lot of talking. And so, hope you like that WOD. Enjoy.